guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Walker Ford in Clearwater, Florida, and guess what? I have that one electrified vehicle that still has people talking. This is it. This is a 2022 Ford Mach-E. This particular one is a special California Route 1 edition. But before we get into this bright orange twin motor electrified crossover SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. So obviously, things have been firing up in the auto industry with more manufacturers making electrified options for people. Of course, you have some that are bragging about changing their whole lineup. Ford decided, you know what? If they're gonna do a vehicle, it's gonna be a crossover SUV. That would be their very first one. And that's where the Mach-E came into play. Now, of course, the marketing crew over at Ford decided to use the Mustang name to help elevate and accelerate people's excitement for this vehicle. But in the end, this is a crossover SUV. Now, there's been a lot of new advancements even since they introduced the Mach-E from different brands, including, of course, Tesla with the Model Y. But what I want to find out is this one worth the price at the end of the day? So let's go ahead, let's dive into this cyber orange Mach-E California Route 1 edition and find out. Right off the bat, the color. That's one of those colors that just fits this type of vehicle. And of course, at the front of the business, they did a great job on exterior lighting. Full LED headlights, daytime running lamps, and turn signals. And one thing that they did is try to bring some of those styling elements from the Mustang, even though this is, like I said, a crossover SUV. Now, you'll notice in the lower corners, you do have some flat black and some gloss black. The one thing I'm very happy to report, no fake vents. So remember, you want to have a low coefficient of drag to help increase that range, and this Mach-E does it very, very well. Now, when we come across the front end of the business, there's no need for a traditional grille, but what's great is that the way they made this design gives it some extra elements so it doesn't just look like a round jelly bean. So I like the way they have this flat black and gloss black accent trim all the way around the perimeter. You do have a Mustang badge. There's no way around that, but to me, this is a Mach-E. It'd be cool to have a lightning bolt with Mach-E. I think that would have been perfect, but like I said, to help boost extra excitement, that's why they used the pony. You do have a forward-facing camera. Down below, this may look like fake vent, but it's not. These are doors that open and close to allow air because we do have a liquid-cooled lithium-ion battery pack in this Mach-E. And for the first time on the California Route 1 edition, you could have twin motors, which ours has. I also like the way they worked that lower lip cleanly into the lower fascia. And then rising up onto the hood, no internal combustion engine. We have an electric motor up front, an electric motor out back, and I'll show you what's underneath the hood in a few seconds. But very bold lines. The way that they did the shape of it, you could see those Mustang design elements in it. Now, when you come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire. So on this Route 1 edition, you're gonna get these gloss black with flat black accent wheels. So each of these pieces, they are plastic, they're flat black. It's to help the aero of the wheel to generate the air down the side of the vehicle. 18-inch wheels, 225 on the width, 60 series sidewall. You do have regen braking and one pedal operation if you choose to use it. On this particular one, we do have gloss painted black around the flared fender opening. Let me know what you think. I don't mind it, especially with the black wheels. But it would be interesting to see what it looked like if everything was painted cyber orange, because remember, cyber orange is an optional color. You got your charge port door, of course, which is located right up front here. And then as I spin around on the bottom portion, you got your Mach-E badge with the 4X. That means we have all-wheel drive from the twin electric motors. Up top, you're gonna get gloss black on the mirror caps, your turn signals built in. We do have 360-degree cameras, a solid glass roof with the black accents, gives it that nice two-tone style. You have your doors, no exterior door handle. This is actually, you push the button and then you pull it open with this little tab. And then to close it, you just go like that. Nice and curvy. That sill extension in gloss black, working our way towards a very small, this is a real quarter window, it's not just gloss black. To open up the rear door, you're just gonna hit the button and actually use your fingers like that, and then close it. And then coming around back, we're gonna swing it out. I wanna kind of showcase that flared fender. This is another design element that they took from the Mustang and brought it into the Mach-E. Very sexy from this angle. And then of course you're gonna have that Mustang-esque tri-bar taillight, all LED with your brake lights and your turn signals. Another Mustang badge. I wish they would have got rid of this. I know it's got 4 doors, but let's help it a little bit look more like a Mustang. Mustang doesn't have a rear wiper. Put it underneath because you have a nice long low roof spoiler. Just have it swing down like that. And then as we drop all the way down, super clean, LED lighting for your reverse lights. And one thing I want to touch on is that you do have your California Route 1 badge, only available on this trim. But why don't we go ahead, we talked about the exterior, let's pop that front mounted trunk and see what's lurking underneath it. All right guys, we got the hood open. You do have hood struts. This is, Ford calls it a front mounted trunk. Underneath you do have that Mustang badge. And one of the reasons why I wanted to show you this area is that you'll notice the weather stripping. This actually seals perfect with the lower portion because this can be used as a cooler. It actually does have a drain plug, but let's talk about power. You have 2 electric motors for that electric all-wheel drive, producing 346 horsepower, 428 pound-feet of torque. It's got a 91 kilowatt-hour battery pack, lithium-ion. It weighs 4,727 pounds. And if you're wondering what about range, you're looking about 295 miles. Officially, the EPA says 312 miles, but there's been a little bit difference in mileage consumption and overall range between different test vehicles. The vehicle weighs 4,727 pounds, 105 mpges in the city, 91 on the highway. On a DC fast charger, 10 to 80%, you're looking at about 10 minutes. If you're using a 240 volt and the battery's dead, it's 15 hours worth of charging. But if you're using a DC fast charger, obviously it speaks for itself. It's gonna be much quicker. But why don't we go ahead, let's close the hood, turn this thing on, and see it in motion. All right, guys, we're in this Cyber Orange 2022 Mach-E, this being the California Route 1 edition. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I think I'm ready to insert the plug. Normally we would say I'm ready to pull the plug, but in this electrified world, you're inserting the plug, right? You're ready to insert the plug and go full EV. I'm liking this Mach-E. How much is it? So this one with the twin motors and being a California Route 1 edition has an MSRP of $57,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. Ford actually did a really great job. Nice clean style, just a thin piece of aluminum. Everything else has a leather-esque feel to it. Even the door handle there, it just really clean and kind of fits the whole car itself. You got some contrast stitching. Door pocket, pretty good size. You could get your cold cut trio and some extra mustard and pickles and a nice bottle of Shasta to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, you got your speakers in the dash here. That's why they have this cloth area. It's actually not just cloth, it's a speaker grill cover. I do like the way they have this silver texture material and the stitching. And then Steven loves these portrait style 15.5-inch infotainment system screens. Now, I don't love the way it looks like it's just stuck on with bubble gum, but it is ginormous. Obviously navigation, obviously full touchscreen capability. You can see how you could get into your access points, the different cameras. Look out the front, 360. You could easily switch it around 20 different ways from Sunday. And then of course, we just go back and now we could go into our drive modes. You got your whisper, your engage, unbridled. I like the way you could easily just turn on that one pedal operation or the propulsion sound, or if you don't want to hear it, leave it off. It's totally fine with that. And then you just go right back to home and you got all your different settings, even your owner's manual and your trip energy all put in. But did you see that? I know this is another thing Steven always loves are the games. So you got lane change, one of the best games ever made since pole position. You could play it right here in the car. Whoa, and no, you can't do it while you're driving. Coming down, I like the way they got all the information. The zonk though is all the AC controls, you gotta use the screen. And I'm not a big fan of that. You got 3 stages of heated seats, but no ventilated seats. So that to me is a problem. That's for your air conditioning, of course. But other than that, it does get intuitive once you use it for a while. Down below, you got a USB-A, USB-C, and wireless charging and a place for 2 Twinkies. And then down below, you could put a purse, a sack, a satchel, a watch, or 3 Beanie Babies. 2 cup holders. You got your Mustang key fob, even though this is a Mach-E. There's your buttons on the back. I like the way they got the stitching. You got your little twisty knob here for your direct drive transmission. More of that nice leather. And what's cool is you could actually drive around like this if you don't want the armrest. So kind of cool. Slide it open, 12 volt, and you got enough room in there for, I would say, 5 more of those Beanie Babies. I don't care what people say. I'm sure there will be a day where on eBay you could cash in with those Beanie Babies and be a multi-billionaire because you saved them, because they were all collectibles. Believe that, and I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. Seats, loving the style, the stitching, especially on the Route 1 edition. Look at how they did all the stitch work. Very nicely done. The only zonk is that this is manual controls for the passenger. Thank God I have electric controls, and you have a solid glass roof. The only problem is, and the zonk, is that there's no sunshade. If I don't want to see the freaking sun, I don't want to see it. And it would be nice to just have a power shade. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind the digital gauge display in this Mach-E. Guys, we're behind the business end. You do have 3 memory seat settings for the driver, and there's your seat controls, easy to get to. I love the way there's a lot of room in here, and I think that's one thing you're going to notice right away. Steering wheel, the leather, the contrast stitching, actually 2-piece leather on the bottom portion. I do like the way they did the horn button. And then this is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you got that 10-inch display there with all the pertinent information. And I really like having that display because it makes it feel like a real car, a traditional car, rather than everything being in the infotainment system. But very cool the way that they have that. But you know what? It's not just about the people sitting up front. It's about that back seat as well. Let's go ahead and jump back there and see how much room there is for your passengers in the Mach-E. All right, guys, back seat time. And you know what? Look at how flat the floor is. Because of it being a BEV, a battery electric vehicle, you got a nice flat floor, plenty of room. And this is where the glass roof really comes into play. It's not so much for the people sitting up front. It's for the people sitting out back. It makes it feel much more airy and open back here. Backs of the seats, you do have pockets. You could easily put, I would say, 5 Cheeros from Costco. You do get a little tiny command center with some AC vents, USB-C and USB-A, which is a great little find there. And then, of course, like I said, being 6 feet tall, I feel really good sitting back here. Armrest, it's Charmin soft with 2 cup holders. And I like the way they carried the stitching throughout, not just for the front seats, but they put on the back seats as well. But let's go ahead, let's get in that cargo area because I want to take you for a little spin in this Mach-E. All right, guys, time to get into the cargo area. Now, this California Route 1 does not have an electric assist cargo lift, but the good news is it's not very heavy. Once you open it up, you're going to be greeted to 30 cubic feet of space. We have the all-weather cargo mat and floor mats with the Mustang badging on it. No spare in this vehicle. And then, of course, you got your 12 volt over here on the passenger side. That's a nice little touch. And then to put those rear seats down, you're gonna have to reach in and actually push the button, and then you push. And then to do the other side, it's the same story. You push the button, and then you push. And then now you're gonna have 60 cubic feet of space. So we just doubled our cubic feet of space all by the press of a button. But you know what? I'm gonna use a little muscle. The beach is that way. Close that lift gate. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's plug in and go on throttle in this Mach-E. Right, guys, we're leaving Walker Ford. We're in this Mach-E California Route 1. I'm actually gonna come to a complete stop. Nobody's behind us. We're in unbridled mode, on throttle. So you're getting those 2 electric motors and that propulsion. And then when you're in that unbridled mode, you can hear the sound that it makes. So they did a job working with the speaker system to create an experience where you feel like you're in an internal combustion engine vehicle. I don't mind it too much. It's not too obnoxious, and it actually doesn't sound too synthetic compared to some of the other brands, but it's really nice that if you don't want that, you could change the settings very, very easily. Another thing that's super easy to change is the 1-pedal drive. So here I am, both feet off the pedals, and we're at a complete stop. And that really comes in nicely when you're in a high traffic bumper to bumper situation, to just use that 1 pedal. And if you're not used to it, it actually doesn't take a lot of time to get familiar with it. But what's great is you got that instant torque when you go on throttle that puts you back in your seat, and then you get off throttle and the vehicle starts to slow down from the 1 pedal operation. And then the great news is you just hit that and it shut right off. Same thing with the propulsion sound. If you don't like the noise, just go ahead and hit it. Hit the button on the screen, and now you don't have that, see? Now you're just hearing the whine of the electric motors. Or if you want it back, you just click it back on. So probably one of the easiest systems to work through of any other electrified vehicle in this segment. I love having the nice large 10-inch digital gauge cluster. Makes it feel more like a regular car. And I'm telling you, on this particular California Route 1, the way they did the interior accents, the steering wheel, everything feels really nice and sporty in here. All right, guys, now we're out onto the highway. I shut the 1-pedal drive off and the propulsion sound off so that you could see that it's actually fairly quiet inside the cabin. Remember, this is the biggest challenge that auto manufacturers have with these electrified vehicles, because there's no engine to cancel out the noise and vibration. Visibility is great over the hood. I like the way you got that nice double bulge hood going on. You got the flared fender in the rear view mirror and side view mirrors. And visibility is just really great in here. Nice to see that for this model year, they decided to allow you to option twin electric motors to have the all-wheel drive in the California Route 1. But let's go on throttle and see how she handles. On throttle, on the brakes, the regen braking. Of course, not a summer high performance tire, but still with the all-wheel drive. Here we go, on throttle. Put you back in the seat, get you up to speed in a very quick fashion. And then, like I said, without the 1 pedal operation, you're gonna be able to coast for a little bit, which is nice. You got your lane keep assist, you got your blind spot monitoring, and I like how low the dash is. It really gives you a nice open environment. Of course, I'll show you what it looks like as you're driving with the navigation up. Not my favorite way of mounting the screen, but it is very easy to get to. I think the hardest thing to get used to with this screen is operating the AC controls. It just gets a little cumbersome when you're trying to maneuver your fingers and focus on the road. But as you can see, very easy to drive, and it feels like a traditional car, which is nice. But we're gonna get back to Walker Ford and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, now we're out onto the highway. I shut the 1-pedal drive off and the propulsion sound off so that you could see that it's actually fairly quiet inside the cabin. Remember, this is the biggest challenge that auto manufacturers have with these electrified vehicles, because there's no engine to cancel out the noise and vibration. Visibility is great over the hood. I like the way you got that nice double bulge hood going on. You got the flared fender in the rear view mirror and side view mirrors. And visibility is just really great in here. Nice to see that for this model year, they decided to allow you to option twin electric motors to have the all-wheel drive in the California Route 1. But let's go on throttle and see how she handles. On throttle, on the brakes, the regen braking. Of course, not a summer high performance tire, but still with the all-wheel drive. Here we go, on throttle. Put you back in the seat, get you up to speed in a very quick fashion. And then, like I said, without the one pedal operation, you're gonna be able to coast for a little bit, which is nice. You got your lane keep assist, you got your blind spot monitoring, and I like how low the dash is. It really gives you a nice open environment. Of course, I'll show you what it looks like as you're driving with the navigation up. Not my favorite way of mounting the screen, but it is very easy to get to. I think the hardest thing to get used to with this screen is operating the AC controls. It just gets a little cumbersome when you're trying to maneuver your fingers and focus on the road. But as you can see, very easy to drive, and it feels like a traditional car, which is nice. But we're gonna get back to Walker Ford and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one of those electrifying kind of days here at Walker Ford. Definitely want to thank Frank Walker, Weston Walker, Tracy, Mark, the whole team, getting us access to this Route 1 edition Cyber Orange Mach-E. Let me know what you think. Is this the best way to go? If you want some performance and you want SUV versatility and you want that price and that special touch, let me know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Radies Rides family. Of course, we need to thank Stephen Flood Photography, making everybody's life a little bit brighter with his love and affection. So thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.